Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. You'll have to excuse my hair today. I just got it dyed this morning and I had it styled at the salon so it's not doing the usual whip that it normally does. But look at this like rusty orange color. Oh, I'm so obsessed with it. I said I wanted this toned a little bit warmer today, you know, because autumn's coming up and I wanted to give off those autumn vibes. And I didn't know exactly what I wanted, but this is it. She got it perfect. I'm so obsessed with this color. I absolutely love it. Anyway, not what we're here for. So today I thought it would be fun to do a random color palette challenge. I've done this a couple times before with mixed results, but they're always really, really fun. And I don't really have any rules set for myself right now. I'm kind of thinking maybe doing, let's say like 5 colors, and then I have to use all those colors and only those colors in the drawing that I'm going to do today. I have a feeling I'm not going to get anything more than maybe the sketch and the line art done tonight, just because it's the end of the day. It's the middle of August, so it's still very hot in here. I can only film for so long without my camera overheating, unfortunately. So I think what we're going to do today is generate the color palette. I have a random color picker online, so there's no guarantee that the color palette itself is going to be cohesive. And then we'll design a character around the color palette and then come back to this another day to actually color them in and render it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and generate a color palette. I have here a random color generator website. It's literally just called randomcolorgenerator.net. And I find this kind of fun. What they've given me is the actual like color that they've chosen, but then they also give me a bunch of tints and shades, which I'm sure, as you all know, is either adding black or adding white. And I'm kind of thinking, since I am assuming this color palette generator is not going to give me black or white, I think on this challenge I'm going to allow myself to tint the colors. So for example, if I were to get like this light tan color that we've started out with, I would be able to use any of these shades down here going all the way to black and all the way to white, just so we can get a little bit more dimension into the character itself. Now, having said that, I have done this challenge before and I've used the blending modes in my art program in order to give myself like a shading and a highlight color. I'm gonna disallow myself to use those today. Disallow myself? I'm going to not allow myself to use those today. So in other words, I cannot use the blending modes to shade and highlight, but I can tint the colors, adding black or white to get a lighter or a darker color. And I'm realizing now that might not turn out how I want it to, but I still think we're gonna go with it. So I'm gonna generate 5 colors and then we're gonna use those as our color palettes. And whatever we get, we take. So for the first color here, I'm very nervous. Okay, so I clicked around on this thing a few times before I started filming and it did not pop up any shade of black or white. So this is very interesting that it would give me nearly black. It looks like down here it might be kind of a purplish color, so I'm gonna go ahead and copy the hex code and we're gonna copy the color and paste it over here. Yeah, it's a little bit pinkish, as you can see up in the top right here, but like just barely. 7 red, 5 blue, and 2 green. Wow. I think that's gonna be our black color because there's no way I can do anything else to that. All right, hop back on over to the color generator here. Let's get our next color. Okay, oh, I really like this one. Lovely little teal color. Let's copy that over. All right, we've got our next one. Ooh. Okay, it's like a very, very soft, very light lilac. Copy that. Next one. Wow, okay, we're getting a very blue piece here. And as much as I appreciate that, because I do like monochromatic color schemes, sort of like analogous colors, but I am getting a little scared that we're gonna get all blue and then 1 or 2 really random out there color swatches at the very end that I'm gonna have to contend with. We'll go ahead and copy that. And our next color. Oh, a very lovely little pink. Actually, is this more lilac than the other one? I might have mislabeled the light blue one as lilac, but we're gonna copy it anyway. Oh, and that's our 5 colors. Okay, so we actually have quite a lovely palette here. Let's go ahead and switch over to Sai. There we go. Yeah, I do quite love these colors. Let me just sort of rearrange them here so we get a little bit of a better gradient. Here we are. All right. Yeah. That is quite a lovely color palette. And it's kind of concerning me a little bit that we don't seem to have any really big variation in it, because I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a boring character design if we don't have any like really interesting flashes of color. I think I'm going to lean pretty heavily on these 3 colors, the black, the aqua, and the sort of light purplish blue. The pink, I think, is going to be a little bit more of an accent color. And then the teal we can definitely use for some like highlights, if that makes sense. Some highlighted colors. For example, usually when I make characters that have kind of a monochrome color scheme, I'll use complementary color or like a really, really bright color in their eyes to kind of make it stand out a bit. And that's sort of what I'm thinking for this teal color right here. All right, well, let's go ahead and hop into the drawing and see what we get. All right, so my first thought is definitely like an underwater character. I'm gonna go ahead and just start sketching something out. I'm definitely thinking mermaid. I'm thinking soft pastels with these two colors. So feminine, which to me translates as very feminine. Although, what if we do, I'm deleting and starting over, as I often do. Because I draw mermaids all the time. I don't, as much as it is already my brand, I don't want it to become more my brand. So I'm thinking instead of a mermaid, what if we do like an amphibious character, sort of semi-aquatic? I'm thinking like the Creature from the Black Lagoon kind of style, Shape of Water-esque. So fishy, mermaidy features, but definitely still humanoid. And I'm kind of excited to make that look feminine. That might be interesting. How about holding like a water basket or something on their hip? I'll just bring it up to add a little bit more interest. Ooh, I have an idea. I have an idea specifically for this teal color. What if we do some sort of like bioluminescent markings? Kind of like how we did for the deep sea mermaid, but I want them to come off as looking more like tattoos, I think would be kind of cool. Thought of that bioluminescent mermaid and immediately I don't want to give this character pupils. But I'm gonna sketch them in anyway. Maybe we'll just do the iris and then the iris itself will be a color and we don't have to do the pupil inside of it. That might be interesting. Fins instead of ears. Classic. Debating hair. How crucial is hair? Is that something this character needs? I think so. I think the face shape would look a little weird if I didn't give them hair. I do, of course, want to give them a swimmer's body, which basically just equates to like a really long torso. Generally, swimmers will have shorter limbs too, easier to move through the water, but I kind of want to keep the long limbs for this character. Just feels a little more alien, which I really like. But we'll go ahead and make sure we include that nice long torso. Really strong legs, because they're swimming through the water all day. I'm debating if I want to give them any fins on their arms. Maybe something just like this, just kind of abstract. Yeah, I like that. It makes it look really sleek. And then I can use this hand to demonstrate that they've got some webbed fingers. Horse is crucial for any underwater character. All right, looking good so far. Just clean up some of this a little bit. And as much as I love the bald, I feel like they need a little bit of hair just to kind of finish off the design. I feel like I'm really gonna want there to be hair in the coloring portion of this. It just makes the character feel more aquatic when they've got like long flowing hair. Reminds me of water. I think I'm just gonna put it in a low ponytail. I said a little bit of hair. This is not a little bit of hair. All right, and as good as this character looks naked, I think I'm gonna need to give him some clothes. If anything, just to give me a little bit more to work with as far as the color palettes go. I think we're just gonna do just a little tube top. Maybe look like it's wrapped a little bit might be fun. And then for the bottom half, let's try a skirt that just has a lot of movement to it. I really want the fabric to look almost like it's in the water. Do it where it splits up the leg. Maybe a little bit of like a high-low. That always gives me a very ethereal vibe whenever I see those high-low skirts, or mullet skirts, as I've heard them called before. Not necessarily business in the front, party in the back, but it's definitely shorter in the front and then longer in the back. You know what? I've been sketching in a belly button here, but if this character is semi-aquatic, then I don't think they would have a belly button. I know there's some marine animals that give live birth. I'm gonna say this one comes from an egg. We've got a bucket of something here. Not sure what yet. Ooh, eyebrows. Almost forgot. I am actually really loving this so far, and I cannot wait to get to the coloring stage, because I have a feeling this is going to be really, really fun to color. I'm so excited about this color palette. I've never gotten one that's this cohesive before. I'm going to make the skirt a little bit lower just to show off that long torso. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with that. Just gonna do a little bit of fine tuning here. Ooh, what about a tail? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna do an axolotl tail. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is a good character. This is a good character. I really like this character. Yeah. Yeah, I'm very happy with this. And then real quick, just gonna draw some squiggles on here to represent some tattoos that I'm gonna have to put in later. Just to remind myself, because I know I have a habit of forgetting to include tattoos. All right, well that is the sketch for that one. I'm gonna go ahead and do the line art off camera because I've been filming for less than an hour and I am already feeling like I'm gonna start sweating. My camera's already shut off once from overheating and I don't wanna risk it again. So I'll do the line art off camera and I will meet you back here for the colors, all right? All right, I swear I'm gonna start filming like 5 videos a day in the winter because filming in the summer is just not worth it. I need like a huge backlog. From the months of October to May, I'm gonna film like 3 videos a day so that all I have to do is edit and upload them during the summer and I don't have to film anything in this heat. Anyway, I'm back with this random color palette piece. I'm gonna go ahead and color it in right now. And I apologize if this goes a little quick because I just turned my AC off and it is rapidly heating up in here. We're gonna start with the skin color, and I think what I really want to do is I want to do the tattoos in this like teal color so that they really show up. So I think for the skin, I'm gonna do probably this blue, this like light blue color so that I can use the pink as an accent, maybe for the fins. And I think the teal is going to show up really well on there. So let's go ahead and do the skin with this color. My plan right now is to get the flat colors for this completely laid down. And then I'll go ahead and do the rest of the rendering, the shading, and the highlighting off camera. I'm planning to do that on my Twitch stream tonight. And that way I don't have to sit here in the non-air conditioned room for longer than I need to. I'll go ahead and do the tail here the same color as the skin. Maybe I'll do the fins like an accent color. There we are, nice and sloppy. And I think for the blush, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this same blue color and maybe just darken it a little bit and then bump the saturation as well. I wanna see what that does. Usually I'll change the hue of the blush to be a little bit more red, but seeing as this is a random color palette challenge, I'm not really allowed to touch the hue. And in addition to that, this is kind of like an alien ethereal character, so she might not have red blood. But I think just darkening and bumping up the saturation on this blue color should give the same effect. I'm very excited for this. I never draw like really alien looking creatures, which is really weird because it's definitely something that I enjoy drawing. So I don't know why I don't indulge in it a little more often. Even though I'm doing the shading off screen, I am still gonna try and stick to the color palette that we've designated for ourselves. And I'm gonna do the same thing that I'm doing for the blush here now, where I'm just gonna take the colors and sort of mess around with the shade and tint of them a little bit, as well as the saturation to sort of get the shading colors that I'm looking for. I think I mentioned earlier, but I've done these random color palette challenges before where I was a lot looser with the rules, in the sense that I didn't really give myself very clear parameters before I started. But with this one, I'm definitely setting the expectation for myself of using the color palettes that the generator has given me, but I will be able to change the tone and saturation of them. All right, and then what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to color adjust and then bring the luminance down a little bit. That's the shading of the color, and the saturation up. There we go. I think that gives a nice blushing effect without having to add any red or change the hue of the color at all. Ooh, you know what? I didn't give myself the parameter of whether or not I was allowed to use black and white on this one. Well, black I seem to already be using because it's the line art, but what if this color up here is pretty darn close to black? I mean, you can barely see the values over here, but it is very, very close. So I think I'm actually going to switch the line art to that color. Hardly makes a difference, as you can see. And then maybe since we're messing around with the saturation already, let's go ahead and bump up the luminance a little bit so that you can see it. Ooh, see? It's like almost a pink color. That's interesting. And I think that'll just add a little something to this piece. Who knows? We're just messing around here. So I think I am going to stay away from black and white, and instead what I'm going to do is mess with the shades on this color palette. So that would mean for the face, let's see, let's take this light pink shade here. Pinkish purple. Bring the saturation down a little bit and the brightness up a little, and we should get something pretty close to white. And actually, I like that little pink tinge in there. Makes the character just a little bit more realistic. All right, for the hair, I know I definitely want to do this nice, like deep, dark aqua color. I think that's gonna look really, really nice in contrast against the skin and the tattoos on the skin. The other reason I'm rushing is because I cut it too close to stream again today. Tuesday, and I do want to be able to render this on stream so that my viewers can watch. If you do want to catch my Twitch streams, I'm streaming on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays now. You can find me on Twitch under the username Threadwing, exactly how it's spelt here on YouTube. And Tuesdays are usually my art days. I generally use them to kind of finish up projects that I'm working on, usually for YouTube videos like this one. So if you're watching this video on the day that it comes out, which is Tuesday, feel free to drop a follow, and I should be on later tonight, generally around 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I know I'm in a time zone that is really, really late for a lot of people, so I try to stream in the afternoon so that as many people as possible can tune in. But yeah, head on over there, drop a follow, and I'll see you tonight. Kind of a little bonus when it comes to Twitch streams is you get a little sneak peek of what I'm working on a lot of the time for upcoming YouTube videos and stuff like that. Ooh, I love that hair color against that skin. That is so pretty. Now, if you want even more of a sneak peek on stuff that I'm working on, you can always join my Patreon. I am also Threadwing over there as well, same as on Twitch, same as on YouTube. I try to keep that name in as many places as possible to avoid confusion. And depending on the tier you sign up for, you can see a lot of my behind the scenes work, so a lot of work in progress sketches, warm-up sketches, stuff like that. A lot of exclusive work that is for Patreon only. If you sign up for the Content Fiend tier, you can get all of my art content that I post to Instagram at least 3 days in advance. And I've even got a Video Star tier, which lets you see all of my YouTube videos 3 days in advance. So instead of seeing a new video every Tuesday, you can see one every Saturday. And in my opinion, the best thing about my Patreon is that I have it set up to post something at least every other day. So it's a constant content flow over there. I absolutely love my patrons. They really make it possible for me to do what I do. And I just want to give them every little bit of love that I can. Oh my god, it's getting hot already. This hair was really fun to render. I really like doing really big swirly hair like this. Although the shading part is not nearly as fun as the line art part most of the time. So I'm not really looking forward to that. Okay, what I want to do with the hair is I'm actually going to bring the luminosity down on this one, and I'm going to clip another layer to the hair and kind of just do a really soft gradient at the top to make it look like she's got a little bit of roots, and it just gives a bit more dimension to the piece. So it's a little lighter at the bottom, a little darker at the top. It makes her face pop, it makes the hair look a little fuller. Just a little trick that I do now that I've been really enjoying. Alright, I know next I want to do the eyes the same color as the tattoos, so I want them to really be glowing. So that's going to be that teal color. And in order to really make them pop, I kind of want to take this aqua color again and bring down the brightness of it to shade it. Because I find if you shade eyes with a different hue, it really makes the lighter hue stand out and look very, very bright and captivating. And that's definitely something I want to capture with this. I didn't give her any line art for her pupils, but I do still want to add a little bit of depth in there, just so it looks like she has some. A couple little details here. I'll go ahead and carve that out a little. And just a little gradient from the top down. And then in order to make eyes look like they're glowing, I always add a little spot to the very center, right where the pupil would be. And to me, that just sort of gives the impression of like these eyes are glowing from within. There we go. I like that. Beautiful. I think I might up the saturation on the shading a little bit and also up the darkness so that they're not quite as in shadow. Alright, and I know I want to do the fins in this pink sort of peachy color, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And I think I might actually put a gradient on top of this to kind of blend into the skin a little bit, just so it looks like the fins are an actual part of her and not just like sitting on top. I do really like that blue-pink color combo though. Kind of reminds me of like cotton candy. Gives this whole piece a little bit of a sweet vibe. Kind of been thinking about it. I'm not entirely sure what I want to do for the clothing. Part of me really wants to use the colors, but at the same time, I don't want to take away from the tattoos that I want to give her. I feel like if I added a little bit of extra color with the clothing, it might distract. So I might just make them almost a white color instead. Either that or something relatively close to her skin tone so that the tattoos pop a bit more. I keep calling them tattoos. I'm envisioning more like markings. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of a skin gradient, and we're actually gonna take a color from the blush and just kind of dust it in here. There we go. And now it kind of looks like it's blending into her skin and it's a part of her body instead of being separated. Yeah, I like that. Beautiful. And then the tail doesn't really have any boning in it, so I think I'll just do a little bit of edging here. Just adds a little bit of dimension and ties it into the rest of the fins. Oh my god, can you see me sweating? The things I do for content. And I'm starting to feel like her skin should probably be just a tad darker so that the markings stand out a little bit. So I'm gonna bring down the brightness and up the saturation a little bit. And I'm gonna do the same thing with her blush because we've lost that now. There we go. And let's get some markings in here. Oh, that's fun. That's very fun. I love that color. I just want to do these little squiggles, almost like tiger stripes. I might even make these a little bit brighter so they stand out a bit more. Yeah, something like that. Just want to do a couple on her face because I don't want to distract from the eyes too much. And then as we get lower on the body, I want to go ahead and make them a little bigger, a little bolder. I'm going to go ahead and work on these markings and turn the AC on for just a little bit, so I'll be right back. All right, we're back. I feel as though I might have gone a little overboard with the markings, but we'll see if they survive the final render. I think the last thing we have to do here is just the clothing, which I think I have decided I'm going to go ahead and go for kind of a white. And let's see, what color have we not really touched? I wonder if I take this pink color and bump it all the way up, will I get like, oh, it's kind of a gray, like a grayish pink almost. That's interesting. I kind of like that because it ties the fins in a little bit. Up until this point, we don't really have anything pink aside from the fins. I did color in the webbing between the fingers here because I realized I forgot that. Yeah, I rather like that actually. All right, we've got this kind of pot next to her, which I think I'm also going to use this pinkish color for because I think I can get maybe a nice earthy color out of it. Here we are. I just changed the brightness and saturation of the top color a little bit to get this kind of earthy pink gray tone. And I think that actually works well because it separates the pot from the character while still kind of keeping in with the tone of the rest of the piece. And it just makes the whole thing look very cohesive, which is very pleasing to me. Just gonna put a little pattern on here, kind of give it something interesting. I'm putting these little splatter spots on here because I realized as soon as I finish that pattern, it looks exactly like the markings I just gave her. And I don't really want that to be the case. A little glaze on the inside here. All right, well that's the flat colors just about finished. I might noodle around with these a little bit in the final render, but I'll definitely let you guys know what I do. Real quick, I want to add a little bit of a gradient to the clothing. And the reason for that is 1, to tie them in a little bit more, and 2, to make it look a little bit more dimensional. All right, well I think that just about does it for the flat colors. What I'm gonna do now is go ahead and render this off camera, add some shading and highlighting and sort of clean things up a little bit, and then I will be back here with the finished product. All right, I'll see y'all later. Hi guys, I'm back with the finished product. It is still very hot, so I'm gonna make this very quick. I flippin' love her. The only thing that just doesn't quite go together are the pink fins, but I kind of like that about it. It's a little bit of an accent to the character, which I really enjoy. And I do like that even though the garments are white, I kind of kept them more to that warm pinkish tone so that it blended in with the rest of the character. I am so unbelievably pleased with this piece. I still cannot believe that we got this color palette out of just completely random colors. I love it so much. And yeah, thanks for hanging out with me while I did this. I had so much fun. I'm definitely going to be trying this again at some other point. Oh, for the shading on this one, I did exactly what I was doing with the colors. I just basically took a color picker of where I was going to shade, and I adjusted the saturation and the shade of the color to kind of get a little bit of a shadow. And then same thing with the highlights. I color picked whatever I was supposed to be highlighting, and then I adjusted it so that it was a little bit lighter and a little less saturated. Yeah, I think this turned out really, really well. Sorry I keep playing with my hair. My neck is actually sweating. So if you want to check this piece out right now, you can actually find it on my Instagram. Just like all the other socials I have on this video, you can find me there under Threadwing. I think the only social I haven't mentioned so far is my TikTok. Sometimes I post speed draws and other funny little clips there, so check that out if you have the time. And like I mentioned earlier, you can also find me on Patreon and Twitch, again under the name Threadwing. I will be live tonight on Twitch with some art, and you can find all sorts of behind the scenes stuff on my Patreon. My hair is just going to be flip-flopping around this whole video. It's so hot. I didn't want to leave it down, but I love the color so much. Anyway, I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break off of YouTube. I'm just going to be skipping uploading next week just because I've run out of my backlog. I swear, this winter I'm just going to be stockpiling videos while it's cool out. It is so torturous filming in this heat. Even now, it's 8 o'clock and I'm sweating. Thank you guys so much. Make sure you hit that follow button so you can find your way back here for next week's video. And I will see you all then. I love you all so much. Bye!